Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again. This will be the third episode, I believe, of the Warden audio series, followed by Orphonauts. Once again, I will be reading from the original Warden book that is no longer available to anybody out there. The new series is linear. It's, as far as I'm concerned, is as perfect as I'm going to get it. I probably could rewrite it, but I'm not going to. The series is pretty well, and the fans will love it and enjoy it. If you are following this and you want a copy, go on Amazon, search up my name. I'll leave links in the description because I haven't been doing, and I really should have been doing. So, with this original copy, I'll start by saying there is a lot of errors, blunders, and some storyline mix-ups actually as well. There's quite a few. I might touch on them as we go along, but I'll get straight into chapter 5. And if we remember from chapter 4, Alice was hunkered down in that black room. She'd just been chased off the Warden. She'd escaped a cell. She'd been chased off Warden. She has no idea where she is, other than that she's in a crazy place and playing a sick game. For viewers, you may be thinking it feels similar to Saw and maybe a touch of Resident Evil, I guess. I wasn't even going for a Saw appeal, which is why Book 2 leads straight away from the whole video games tape thing. There's Sector 2 is massive anyway. But alas, we'll focus on Book 1 and I'll focus on Chapter 5 right now, which brings us to the Watcher and Sigid. Not this crap again. We go to all the trouble of collecting various prisoners only for the Warden to wind up slaughtering them all at the start. It was bad enough when those deranged bagheads started mobbing around both start zones. We had no choice but to cull their numbers from 30 to 17. He even had to take away sacks and masks so more bagheads couldn't be made. Deranged freaks only let fear rule them, and they sure as hell ain't afraid of me or my boys. Sure, we can place a bullet between their eyes, but they were that whacked out of their damn gourds on drugs or too deranged to realise that a gun is a killing tool. To them it was nothing but a cowardly way of killing them, and all the bagheads hate cowards. Watching the many camera feeds in front of me, and by many I mean a huge wall filled with them, from corner to corner. Often there are times I have to strain my neck to look over at some. Resting my head in my hands, I watch through the gaps in my fingers as the Warden continues his butchery by slaughtering another one of the Governor's contestants. At this rate, I am going to have to stop the cells from opening until the damn Warden goes away. Who even let the monster into Section 1? He's meant to guard Section 3. Heck, we feed the guy enough bodies to amuse himself over there. Most of Sector 3 is just made out of rotting flesh by this point. Or so I believe. I've heard that the Governor has given the sick freak a skeleton key to the entire building. The only doors it cannot unlock are the Sector 1 start zone cells and any of the staff offices, including where me and my boys camp. Why he felt it necessary to give that beast free roam is beyond my reasoning. Wish I knew how the big boss controlled him. On the laptops in front of me, resting open on the controller's desk, I can see the viewer figures dropping. Even our viewers understand what is going on. They had seen this last season. This is no fun to watch a second time around, and these people turned in to watch the sickness unfold on with the horror. Watching the Warden and his brutality is a sure crowd pleaser, but not when he is just going to slay every contestant. Some of our viewers have invested millions into this game, and others have placed millions on who they think will survive the longest. There is never a bet on who will win, because no one has ever won since Season 2, before the Warden arrived, and before the insane Doctor created the Jackals. I have very little choice or options at the moment. I either let out all the captives at once and flood the Sector 1 area, or I'll lock all the cells and leave a very angry Warden in place until the Governor can deal with him. That will mean angrier viewers than I currently have, and a pissed off boss on top of it. The Creep Fest is going to end fast, and the only person to escape so far out of the starting block is one of the odds-on favourites to survive the longest. Not that she will, silly old cow. I can see on one of the monitors she's walking towards Elsie's domain. Even the Warden doesn't screw with Elsie. Typing away quickly, I decide to flood Sector 1 and release all the remaining captives. The Warden can't butcher them all. Some will still make it out of that room alive. I hope. Hitting the enter key, I override the operating system on the self doors and fling them all open in Start Zone A. Start Zone B can continue as normal. And just like a fort, the Warden can't kill them all. He is sure as fuck going to try though. God, I am on this side of the screen. Spinning around in my chair, I pick up a can of cold beer off the table as the radio comes to life. Sigid! Sigid! Are you there? I repeat, Sigid! Are you there? It is the governor's voice. He must be quite a distance away, as the signal is quite distorted. Now to pray that I don't get punished for my actions. No doubt he's watching from wherever he is. Picking up the radio, I place it close to my face, putting down my beer. Yes, I am here, sir. I must apologise for... He cuts me off. He doesn't want to hear it, but thankfully he isn't angry either. Don't worry about it. This year is special and we need many strong players. We will be releasing one of the Jackals within 48 hours, along with a few other surprises. With Series 9, I will be bringing this game to a close. There will only be one survivor when this is all over. Even the inmates will perish. Just wanted to warn you that you and your guys may not be safe this time around, but expect to find huge bonuses in your pay packets. His voice drones off. What do I even say to that? The Warden is on the prowl. Elsie is sort of confined for now in the lower isolation block, and now a jackal is to be released. Out of all the monsters, freaks, and even the dead in this place, Elsie is by far the worst that I can think of. She can pop up out of nowhere and snap your neck. She's like a damn spider and loves to toy with unsuspecting prey. Next on the hierarchy is the Warden, and then the Mad Doctor and his science projects, the Jackals. You barely see them come in, but when they do, they tear you apart limb from limb, and there is said to be 3 of them in total, because nobody's seen anymore. The entire facility is a nut house. Sector 1 is where the bagheads reign. Those guys are so mentally fucked up they only understand killing and torment. To them, you keep what you kill, and this is why their numbers never dwindle. To become one, all you have to do is kill a baghead and then take their mask. Sector 2 is where the clowns rule, and although they can be reasoned with, and many are in the governor's pockets, they show signs of extreme aggression towards my men. Unlike the bagheads, the clowns are quite intelligent people behind creepy masks or makeup. Most of them have serial killer backgrounds. Sector 3 belongs to the Stitched, or so we are told. My men and I don't go to Sector 3. There is all this and so much more. From violent kill goals to complete solo madmen who were once players in the game, but now have turned into whacked out crazies. Sure, the facility is scary, but most of the people playing the game have dark secrets too. 7 famous people have been abducted and brought here. 10 well-known serial killers from around the globe have willingly come here, and they include the likes of Pretty Peach, also known as Rose, the young cute girl who suckers people in with her tears and then kills them. She has even brought her entire family into this game as well. Not the first girl to do so. She is that mentally screwed up. There is also Stan. He loves to slit people's throats and he is way too calm in front of the Warden. Makes me uneasy. After that, the other 20 detainees appear to be normal. There is also a journalist amongst them that everyone wants dead, but no one can quite make out who he actually is. Sigid, do me one last favour before I go back to the mansion. See to it that Sean is released. I would have him play this game too. Is the governor serious? Sir, if we release him, he will come after us. The man is former SAS. He killed 12 others before we could detain him. This is the last horror game, Sigid, so we need it to be explosive as possible. The captives and willing participants die. The game doesn't end. It ends when only one survivor escapes. You have permission to shoot Sean should he attempt anything, but for now release him and enjoy the game. With one last chuckle, the governor's voice disappears. Fuck. Most crazy freaks will not attack us hired guns, but Sean will. Sean was one of us. He knows this place like the back of his hand. Hell, he even had my job before he went rogue. Then again, those damn clowns did scatter his son's body parts all around Sector 2, piece by piece. So much crap is already happening, and now viewer figures are going through the roof as a countdown for a jackal appears on the web page. The dark web is truly a sick place. On the monitors, it seems Dave and Bud are the closest to the detention block. They have made it back safely from escorting that horror writer back from the labs. Bud, Dave, I need you both to release Sean. Open his door and escort him to Sector 1 and leave him there. It's a direct order from the governor. I wait a moment for a response. Okay, boss, but Sean is worse than the bagheads. He may even kill us before we get him to Sector 1, and we lack the firepower to keep him under control or kill him. There is trembling fear in the voice. It can only be Bud, as Dave is too young and stupid to think. Just do it, Bud. Sean shouldn't attack you guys. He only killed the last lot of guards because they tried to kill him. If you're sure, boss, me and Dave are not too far away, so consider it done. With another crackle, the radio goes dead. Who am I kidding? The chances of Sean killing Bud and Dave are incredibly high, and if he does, I only have 8 men left. Sean is beyond snapped. He has seen way too much shit in this place, and even 1 year is enough to mess with your mind. My first year here, I spent throwing up. Some of the twisted things these crazies do is astounding. This is going to be my last year, then they can get me off of this island. The pay is brilliant, but I have a plan to make myself 50 million easy. I just need to keep that old bitch alive. With that, that concludes chapter 5. Now, if you remember me saying from earlier, there is quite a few mix-ups, like Elsie is not top of the food chain. She isn't. But with regards to Elsie, who is on the front of this cover, I based her off my daughter. If you've ever seen a daughter hunched over at 2 o'clock in the morning walking to the bathroom, with her arms flinging forward like she's Samara from The Ring, it is goddamn terrifying. And it soon wakes you up, especially when she's very quiet and just creeps along. Very scary. Very freaking creepy. Or worse, when your kid just decides to stand over your bed and ask for something. Our son's the worst for that. He just stands next to mummy and stares. It's like, Jesus Christ. You wake up and he's just staring. It's like, what do you want, Jack? Right, anyway. Right, so, I'll crack on with chapter 6, the last one I'll be reading today. And this brings us back to Alice. And if you remember Sigid, she's actually tried to move a little since that room. A little. Now, the chapter is called Elsie, and once more, we're back with Alice. Where is she? Where is she? Me seen her, me did. Clear as day with a scalpel in my eye. We seen her, we did. We did. Outside the room I am hunkered down in after the monster with 100 faces paced off. I cling to the wall like he is my saviour, as some kind of deranged freak had spotted me in the corridor. He is talking to himself in riddles and utter nonsense, but nonetheless one thing is clear, he is searching for me. Never have I seen a man like him before. Dressed in filthy rags, he stinks of rotting meat and urine, and seems to have a potato sack over his head. There's 2 eye holes cut out, and a long piece of rope or string dangles out at the top of it. Barely setting a single foot into the corridor, I had spotted a shadowy figure hopping along, darting from left to right as if he was playing hopscotch, or was seriously drunk. Come on out, little piggy, piggy, piggy. Justin won't hurt you, will we, Justin? Nah, Justin won't hurt you much. And then Justin maybe let you go, but maybe Justin don't let you go. Me knows we seen you. Here now, piggy, piggy. The man in the bag is getting incredibly agitated, and once more speaks like a madman possessed. Is he one of these crazies? Sure sounds like it. I don't make a sound. I remain glued to the wall and floor, beginning to sob quietly to myself. How many more tears can I shed? Rattle. 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 A loud metallic noise clatters through a distant corridor. Sounds like an empty food can rolling across the floor. Grabs the crazy man's attention though. After I hear his footsteps chase after the noise, I manage to find my own feet. Once more, it is time I brave the corridors. If I stay still, I will be just waiting to die. The corridor is like a long black tunnel with the odd light here and there. Trash bags, bricks, and even some rusted wheelchairs litter the corridor. All the walls are either covered in graffiti, loose wiring, or have green paint peeling from them. At least I think it is green paint. It is a little too dark to see properly. Many other doors line the walls, some broken and some door frames are missing a door entirely. Broken windows with rusty metal blinds also line parts of the corridor. The windows themselves have been picked clean of glass. Gingerly stepping towards one of the window frames, I split the metal blinds hanging out of them, all bent and crooked. Peeking inside, it looks much like a disused office. I continue to proceed down the corridor, but do not look back towards the submarine door. I am beginning to feel thankful I have no shoes, as my bare feet barely make a sound, just a gentle patter. Groans, moans, grunts, manic laughter and screams can be heard in all directions, along with the sound of scratching. The scratching sounds like a scurrying rat. The noise intrigues me, and as I continue my venture, it grows louder until it sounds somewhat familiar. It is the sound of chalk being run across something other than a blackboard. I am almost sure of it. After all, I have used enough chalk in my lifetime. Heading towards the only main source of light in the corridor that dangles down from a thin cord, the sound of chalk stops. The light illuminates a large part of the corridor, but it also lights up an open doorway. There is nothing within except a concrete stairwell going down to a lower floor. Peering through, I try to see if anyone is inside, or if I can hear anything other than the screams in the distance. There is a single heavily barred window that lets the night light shine through onto the stairwell, but the chalk noise has all but faded away. Still, I keep my ears open, on high alert. I need to with these kinds of surroundings, and it is a good job too, as I hear someone mumbling further down the corridor, followed by a high, wailing screech. Crap, another one of those damn sack freaks has spotted me. The stairway is my only escape. Don't know where it leads, but if this person running at me captures me, then there is no doubt in my mind I will die. Everything in this place seems to want to kill me. Rushing inside, I don't realise how fast the maniac is as I feel my dirty dress being tugged on. Turning around, I can see the man has clutched a large portion of my dress. I begin to try and desperately pry his dirty hand off me. He stretched through the doorway, grabbing onto me, but seems hell-bent not to come on through. Because of this, I successfully managed to release his grip, almost sending myself tumbling backwards down the concrete stairs. The man in the sack is covered in fresh blood, drips down from his clothes that look like they have just been torn off another person's body. Just like the last crazy man, this one also has a sack over his head. Splotches of blood are here and there, along with squiggly pen marks. His heavy breathing is so loud I can even see the cloth of the sack moving in and out of his mouth. Crazed he may be, but he does not want to come across a thick line of salt covering the doorway. I didn't notice it before, but he doesn't even want to tread on it, and seems terrified of the prospect of leaping over and killing me. Standing at the top of the stairs, I don't let my eyes off the man as he growls at me like a dog. He inches forward with his flat shoes, contemplating one last time on whether or not to cross, but the thought of it sends shivers up his body. Instead, he places his thumb on his neck and mimics it being sliced open. He is threatening me, but as far as I am concerned, I am safe. My heart is beating rapidly as this man continues to scare me. I am dead if I cross the doorway. He knows it, and I know it. Is he perhaps toying with me? Or do the salt lines mean safe zones, like a crazy game attack? Either way, the man leaves grumbling and groaning. He doesn't seem too happy, but I am thankful. My body is all tense, and after he vanishes out of sight, I drop to my knees. Safe, safe, I tell myself. I've only walked down a single corridor and almost died more times than I care to count. What real chance do I have of making it out of this prison alive? Thud. Thud. My nails dig deep into my arms as I hear a familiar noise heading back down the corridor. No. No. No! After a man's voice echoes from the direction I saw the baghead walk, I hear a giant swish, followed by a gargling sound. That man who just wanted to slice open my throat has just run into the monster, and if I stay where I am, I will end up another face on his body. Quickly getting up, I rush down the first flight of stairs, stopping as I hear the noise of chalk once more, followed by the heavy footsteps of the warden. I can't stay up on that floor. I need to take my chances downstairs and pray it's safer. Crouching down so I can just barely see the doorway I came through, I watch as the warden strolls past. Huge bloodied meat cleaver in his hand. Yes, there is no turning back now. Continuing down the next flight of steps and out the door, it feels like a huge gust of wind batters me. A rank smell of curdled milk crawls up my nose. Something down here stinks worse than the bagheads, but other than the sound of chalk, it seems a lot safer than upstairs. Surely this is a safe zone the governor was on about. In front of me, facing the doorway I came through, is a crumbling reception desk, covered in dust, wires and a decade worth of decay. A busted PC also lies on the desk. It has been broken for quite some time by the looks of it. But what I find myself interested in is the huge plaque behind the desk, glued or nailed into the greenstone wall. Silently and slowly, I walk around the desk to investigate. Wiping away some of the dust that clings to it, I can see that this is a map of the entire prison. How freaking big is this place? If I am reading it correctly, I am in the solitary confinement block for the insane, which really isn't reassuring me. There seems to be 3 sections to the building. The section I am in along with my fellow captives is merely used as an asylum, filled with mental wards and padded rooms, no doubt. The second section, along with the first, is mostly a prison, but the second section is much larger and has many medical wings. Only wish I could take note of all this. My eyes scan across the map until I realise there is a morgue nearby. This place gets scarier by the second. Not only does it have its own morgue, it also has dentist rooms, operation rooms, and an execution room. In fact, there's 5 of them. A loud ding takes my attention away from the map as ceiling lights begin to flicker brightly. For once I can clearly see. Heading back out into the corridor, I think of asking if anyone is here, but whatever crazy hears me. Deciding to keep my mouth shut for now, I set off searching left and right. Only one side of the long sprawling corridor is alive with light, and that is the right side. The left remains blacked out. The right side has become so well lit I can see everything, including the graffiti on the walls. Most of it is nonsense, but as I follow the lights down the corridor, there is one piece of graffiti that I can read clearly. Elsie's going to get you. They have even used an exclamation mark. Seems odd to me. Bad drawings are amongst the graffiti, but out of all the scribbles, this one seems much more like a warning. Not a single room door is open as I press on. There are no windows down here either, just a seemingly endless curved ceiling corridor. Wires hang down from the ceilings like snakes, and the electrics on some are buzzing alive. The doors on either side are plentiful in number, and all have nameplates hung next to them. All the doors are shut, and I don't want to try opening them. Guess these are the isolation cells, although they don't seem so isolated to me. Walking for several minutes without hearing a single sound, I count my lucky stars until the chalking returns. It is louder, much more prominent too, as is the smell of sour milk. That smell is getting unbearable. The light seems to weave around a tunnel-like bend that connects to the corridor, yet more cells await me as I round the bend. At the very end of the hall is a young girl, most likely in her early teens, judging by her size, but she looks younger. She is sat down on the floor, humming as she continues to scribble, a thick piece of chalk in her right hand. Dressed in a white hospital gown covered in as much filth as my own dress, I notice the girl's head rise and her humming stops. She begins to scribble frantically at my arrival. Is she scared? I think she is looking at me, but it is hard to tell as her long black hair covers her face. She soon drops a piece of chalk and begins to stand, her head never moving. As she stands, I gasp in shock. Her back is so severely curved that her head hangs lower than her chest and shoulders. Without a word, she vanishes into an open cell. At the sight, my motherly instinct starts kicking in. She surely can't be any older than 13. What are these sick bastards doing placing a child in here? This more of their twisted amusement. I take a step towards the girl where she has been drawing. One by one, the lights begin to flick off, like something straight out of a horror movie. My hairs begin to stand on end, only one light remains on. One square tile light above the open cell the little girl has walked into. Proceeding forward, I can hear the innocent humming of a child, but with the corridor gloomy and dark, I press on with much more caution. Still, it doesn't take me long to arrive at the open cell, or rather closed cell. I presumed it open, seeing as the girl casually walked straight through. Maybe she has closed the door, scared at my arrival. Bang! The light above me explodes as I leap a foot into the air. My flesh is pimpled and every fibre of my being is telling me to run, yet my heart is telling me to stay. What if this child needs help? Not that I am in a position to offer it. All is dark once more. My eyes are beginning to adjust as the cell door in front of me begins to open with a creaking sound. She is letting me inside. Little girl, I mean you no harm. Is it okay if I come in? I'm not here to hurt you. If I can, I would love to try and help you. Just like you, I am stuck in this place too. No response is given, but this girl continues to hum loudly. I decide to push the door open anyway. Creak by creak, it opens until I can see into the room. A small children's nightlight is plugged into a concrete wall, giving off a faint red glow. This is enough to brighten the room, though. Just like the cell I had been in, this place is this place is disgusting, filthy, and a foul-smelling bucket in the corner, and a desk with a chair and mirror to the sides. On the desk there is something glistening. Looks like a videotape with a silvery label on it. Have I already found a tape? Hustling inside, I forget all about the girl as I grab for the tape and the note laying beside it. All hums have disappeared. I thought the girl was hiding, so I scour the small living space. No matter where I look, the girl is simply not there. She isn't under the bed or desk. It is confusing, to say the least. I am sure I saw her enter this room. Unlike my own cell, this one seems lived in. It is covered in pretty pictures. Or at least I think they are pretty until I take one off the wall for closer inspection. It's a drawing of someone being decapitated and then set on fire. The more I look at the pictures, the more I realise the little girl is present in all of them. She is the one doing the murders. Perhaps I have made a grave error in following her. I don't know how she did it, but she's gone now anyway. Putting the picture aside on the desk, I unfold the note that is resting next to the videotape. My eyes almost bulge out of their sockets as I scan it. For whoever actually found this tape, I commend you. Not many would be willing to dive right into the spider's lair. If you happen to make it out alive, head to the rec room to play the tape. P.S. Be careful. Elsie likes to cling to ceilings. As my eyes finish reading, I feel them sliding upwards to the noise of scurrying. Sure enough, the note is right, and there she is, clung to the ceiling like a spider. Her hair now dangling so I can see her horrifying face. I let loose an almighty scream, which is matched by a shriek from the girl who must be Elsie. Her neck is twisted all the way around, clearly snapped. Her eyes are jet black like that of a demon, and her skin is pale white, cracked in many places. She gazes down at me as I slowly back up towards the door. Coming here was a big mistake, a big fucking mistake. Turning to bolt out the door, I find it shut. When it's shut, I don't know. Never even heard it close. I pull and heave on the door handle. Ever so slightly I can feel the door moving, but it seems to be caught on some kind of latch. La 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 la. Snap. Snap. Sounds of bones breaking make me shudder, and they aren't the only noises as the child hums menacingly. I can hear her as she drops down from the ceiling. Her feet land with a soft thud, sending me into a panic. She's going to kill me. No tears come to my eyes, but panic and terror is present. Never have I wanted to wet myself so badly. La, 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 la. Ugh. A soft groan comes from behind me, along with more humming. This moment I am hit by the realization I am not going to make it out of this room. That child isn't human. No child could cling to a ceiling or vanish through doors. Leave me alone, please. I beg you. I mean you no harm. Just leave me alone, please. I slam my head against the door, still trying to pry the damn thing open. La 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 la. Patter, patter. Snap. The horrid sounds of bones twisting and snapping, coupled with the humming and the sounds of bare feet inching closer, make me realize she is now behind me. A strong smell of sour milk returns. It is her that stinks of it. She can kill me at any moment, and I know it. She's just tormenting me. If I am to die, then so be it. I will look her in the face and show her I am not. Oh dear Lord. Only turning my head for a fraction it met with Elsie's. She has contorted, twisted, and stretched her neck out like a giraffe. Her mouth is wide open and she groans in my face. Her eyes are as like black holes that draw my eyes into them. How can anyone be brave around this? And there it is. My bladder relieves itself. I am now going to die in a puddle of my own piss. Elsie snaps her neck back as she giggles uncontrollably. After the laughter, she starts to groan much more frequently as her arms start to swish. Following the sounds of her groans, I watch as her eyes roll into the back of her head and her back tears open. Two arms sprout out of the girl's shoulders, although clearly arms, they are not human. Now the tears come as Elsie starts to walk towards me, those mutilated arms of her reaching out for me as she spins her head around so that her mouth is at the top of her head. Buzz, click, clank. The door to the room flies open and even Elsie looks confused for a moment. I don't care. I run and I run fast, almost slipping in a puddle of my own making. No doubt in my mind that Elsie is chasing me, but I can't hear her. For just a split second I turn around and there she is almost upon me. She's scrambling upside down on her hands and feet in a crab-like position, and she is still blindingly fast. La 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 la. Again she hums and groans loudly, followed by almost soundless footsteps. Please do not let this crazy thing catch me. I continue to run back the way I came. Cell doors are springing open with such force, and the glass lights above are shattering and raining down as Elsie screeches with a barbaric, high-pitched tone. Her flies escaped and broken out of her web. Of course she is not happy. Racing up the stairs, I feel Elsie literally breathing on me as I leap through the salted doorway and proceed onwards. I stop at the sound of gargling and the distinct sound of pain. And that concludes chapter 6. Chapter 6 was definitely a big one. I didn't even think it was that big. Oh. So, here we meet Elsie. And like I said previously, Elsie is based on my terrifying daughter from many, many night times just jumping and being terrified as I go to the toilet or something, because she's just freaky. If you ever got a child and they get up at night, it is the most freakiest thing you'll ever see, because they walk around half dead. They're pale, it's night, so there's no lights, it's just creepy. And they're usually soundless as well. So yeah, I based Elsie off my own child. There's a few more minor story mistakes in here. Like, Elsie is 7 years old. I believe she's 7 years old. I can't quite remember myself, which is really bad as the author. But so yeah, she's around 7 years old, and so she's nowhere near like 13, 14. Other than that, the prison and the asylum itself, I actually designed that, the map and everything. I just never put the map in the box. It was way too chaotic in my own head, let alone to put it in the box. There's like freaking five or six floors, and then for each floor there's just levels and rooms, and there's just everything. Like, the asylum itself as the story progresses is huge. But just as a teaser as well, the next chapter, chapter 7, is called Morgue. And again, we are following Alice. So she's going to be taking a very, very nice trip to a not so very nice place. And In a couple more chapters, we will come across one of my favourite characters in this story. And I won't spoil it, but I very much enjoyed creating him. Sort of reminded me of Chucky in a way, but not so much, because Chucky's kind of funny. Irritatingly funny and will kill you, but he's kind of funny. This one is menacing and deadly in every single way, and on the scale of he will match Elsie in deadliness. Right, I'm going to wrap things up there. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Please give a like and a subscribe if possible. I will put links for my work in my description this time. And thank you again. Take care and bye.